And this is new construction, as you can see. The nicest thing in here is that ladder.
If you're in the market to buy a new house, I'll say this much. Do not buy a house after 2020. You wanna know why?
Okay, so today we're going over some new construction builds. Single family homes, apartment buildings, townhouses, it does not matter, because as time goes on, there only seems to be more examples on how poorly these structures are made. From the homeowners with buyer's remorse dealing with all of these horror stories, to the inspectors having never-ending content to upload on TikTok because of how embarrassing all of this has gotten, and even the builders themselves warning people to not purchase the properties they're building. I mean, it's truly unbelievable. We have a lot to go over today, along with comments from you guys from previous videos. So if you want to be featured on a future video, leave in the comments down below. But let's start off with somebody who's actually building these houses for a living. If this isn't the biggest warning sign to not buy, I don't know what is.
What's up, what's up? Listen, if you're in the market to buy a new house, I'll say this much. Do not buy a house after 2020. You wanna know why? Okay, I'll show you why. Hold on. Most of these houses go up in 4 days. No joke. We pour the foundation. They don't even wait a day for it to cure. Not even a day. I want you to see something real quick. Look at that. Oh, look at how even that is. Yep. Wait a second. No, that's not even the start of it. I mean, I'm going all over this place and see how far off they are. Look at that. Oh man, I know I'm not buying a brand new house. If you want something good, you gotta do it yourself. I mean, look at that. Oh my, no. No, this is not the kind of quality you want to have. I mean, this is weak at what it is.
And I'm gonna have to cut off almost every single clip we're watching today because it just goes on and on with more examples on how shoddy the work is. But we could go over to the comments. As an electrician, I approve. The amount of shortcuts in the trade industry from every trade is ungodly. Buy an older home and remodel. Dude's roasting his own crew on the site. I worked in real estate and managed past clients, and the amount of people who absolutely hated their D.R. Horton homes is crazy. They always had expensive repairs within the first year, and D.R. Horton almost always basically told them sorry. And then the comment right after that just closed on one a week ago. As someone who works in the construction office, he's not lying. It makes sense why people go every day to check on their house getting built. After 2020 is generous. Personally, I'd say after 08 or later. All the realtors I know live in older homes. Very odd, right? And they're also $500,000. He's not lying. I watched a whole 5-bedroom house get built in 2 weeks down the street. The comments go on and on. The more I watch these videos, the more important it becomes to get a very solid inspector like this.
You know it's going to be a good inspection when you pull up and the real building city code inspector is out front getting ready to inspect the same house that you're getting ready to inspect. Okay, met with the city inspector, great guy. He brought me over here to the side of the house and he said, hey Jordan, look at this. You see this expansion joint here? Well, this expansion joint is sealed here, but it's not sealed up here. Okay, all finished up with the city inspector. He needs that expansion joint sealed up and then this place is ready to go. Now let's see what I come up with. Well, they were kind enough to install a doorstop. But the problem is the door handle. Nobody will notice. I wonder if they're trying to hide something. Yep. Look at the toilet here. I can't believe they were going to leave it like this.
Again, this clip goes on for about 2 more minutes showing all of the other issues that of course the builders just ignored, didn't care about, said that it was completely done. The city inspector found one issue and then wiped his hands clean, drove away, said it was completely fine to sell, even though there are a host of other problems that you have to deal with before this should be able to be sold. I just can't believe that new construction is this bad nowadays. Another comment saying D.R. Horton, good guess, but can't confirm. Some of the rules that the inspector has to follow are just absolutely wild. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. They can't just out all of these terrible builders. They'll actually get in trouble, as crazy as that sounds. But we have a comment from one of you guys. As I've said before, there needs to be a lemon law for houses just like cars. Builders should have to buy back defective homes, and the deed should reflect on when they try to resell it. However, since we started going over this topic, there are almost no repercussions. The only thing that could really hurt their business is putting this up on social media, the home buyers showing all of the shoddy work, their house falling apart. Some Some of the clips end up going viral, get some traction, more people know to stay away from these builds, but in the end, the original purchaser is basically screwed. On top of an ever-increasing home price, the repair bills are not cheap either. I mean, just from the entranceway from the next clip we're about to see, how expensive do you think this home is?
Here's the new home. Comes with a shoe print right in the front entryway. Jamb is split where they screwed in the latch plate. A little loose. Under the kitchen sink. Looks like they forgot that cover for the junction box. That's all right, it's moving ready. There's the oven. It's been on for about 10 minutes and it's still at 100 degrees, which means it's not heating at all. The garage wall, the sill gasket is out of place. On the roof, this fascia got cut with a hammer, leaving a nice gap. Custom flashing detail here. Just overlap it and bend it. A couple shiners here. They're not sealed down because there are nails underdriven below them.
And going over what these inspectors find, we have a comment from one of you guys. My husband is a home inspector in Florida, and when someone requests a home inspection on big builders' new builds, D.R. Horton, Clayton Homes, all of them that you've heard of, the selling agent follows him around and he's not allowed to touch the electric panel, run appliances, which would have been a problem for the homeowners in the last clip if they didn't go over the oven not heating, get near the roof, move anything for testing, and has a time restriction. It's unbelievable. So honestly, a good amount of the problems just from the previous example wouldn't have even been allowed to be looked at. And with this comment being in Florida, I think it's a good transition into the next one.
This is how your new Lennar homes are being built. Wood framing. How do we feel about that? Ultimately, this is what the product would look like, but this is wood framing here in Florida.
That's insane. I thought concrete block was building code for the first level. What part of Florida is this? Cheap as possible, termites can't wait to move in. Wood framing has been around forever. Where have you been? In an area prone to getting hurricanes like Florida? That's crazy. I'm on the coast of South Carolina. Everything I see is wood framing. That's literally 90% of new builds. Florida and even South Carolina, if you're in the Charleston area, gets hit with hurricanes all the time. Sounds like a recipe for disaster if you ask me. Oh, Lennar Homes, because nothing screams Florida dream home like a builder who treats hurricane country like it's the Midwest in springtime. These absolute geniuses slap together houses with the structural integrity of a wet cardboard box. And you wonder why insurance prices are going through the roof, especially when we're talking about Florida. These houses would legitimately fall apart constantly with the storms. Welcome to Florida, where we have flying termites. All the new apartment complexes around Southwest Florida are the same way as well. And we have an example of that up on screen right now. Wood framed apartments in Florida rotting out before they even open. Nobody's living in it yet and it's already falling apart. Guaranteed to be labeled as luxury apartments. I would put money on it. Mind you, they're building 7-story apartments out of wood, especially in Orlando. Only takes one person to forget a stove on. Very good point as well. Wood framed houses and apartments in Florida should be illegal. Termites have entered the chat, the same comments over and over again. Everybody realizes that this is a bad idea. But these places are being built up in record time. We have a comment from you guys. My town approved a 12-home development. The footprint of these homes are all between 3,000 and 4,200 square feet. They all started development June 18th and today is September 2nd. All 12 homes have been sold and now fully occupied. You would never convince me that they were built with any level of quality or pride. It's a clear churn and burn job. And I think we have the perfect example of that, the lack of quality and pride when they're building these homes. Definitely a D.R. Horton home. He's there for the income, not the outcome, and you wonder why all these homes suck. Must be a D.R. Horton home again. At least everybody knows about that one particular builder. I hate builders who hire people like this. I hate the supervisors who allow this even more. I mean, some of the thought process or lack of thought process when these homes are being built are absolutely astounding.
Got some new condos built in my neighborhood. You gotta hop the curb to get in your car garage. It's pretty cool. This is my favorite one yet. Look at this garage. For real? What the?
They're legitimately just copying and pasting, not caring if it makes sense at all. So it's really not surprising to me when I start seeing videos like this.
I find it so interesting that most people don't want to buy a new construction home anymore. I did this video the other day, screenshot here, and I asked, yay or nay to new construction homes? And the majority of the comments were nay, just because of the quality of build and people's opinions. A lot say it depends on the builder. People are just saying from all these different states, like, no, I bought this new construction home. I'm having all these issues. I'm better off buying something built 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago. I just find that so interesting. People were definitely not saying that 30 years ago when it comes to new construction homes. Times have changed.
Custom build? Sign me up. Corporate build? Absolutely not. I would still say if you had enough money to custom build your own house, like we saw with a comment earlier, you'd have to be there every day, basically hovering over, micromanaging the builders just so they don't cut corners. They would still screw you over. So if you have a normal 9-to-5 job, that would be incredibly difficult. I do insurance claims full time. Most claims are from condos and new construction. I'm not living in a cardboard new construction home that looks exactly like my neighbor's. That was also built 5 feet from the next house that has no parking or lawn and ridiculous HOA fees. Now, the last time we went over this, we did start seeing new stats that the new construction builds were starting to become cheaper than what was already there, along with very interesting marketing tactics like this.
Here at Adams Homes, the prices are falling. We're offering up to $20,000 in flex cash. Come on in.
Why do you think they have to make funny TikToks like this and then give you $20,000 off right away? I initially thought that these types of examples and what went viral on social media was starting to deter a majority of people looking for a home currently, until I start seeing clips like this.
So something pretty interesting is happening in the housing market right now, specifically about new construction. So due to record cancellations in July, new home sales were expected to decline going into August. But clearly that assumption could not have been more wrong, as new home sales have exploded 20.5% month over month. This is the biggest month over month increase since August of 2022. And a big reason for this could be the fact that new home prices are actually cheaper than existing home prices right now. Realtor.com shows us that new builds are going for around $218 per square foot versus $226 for resales. Add that with the fact that builders typically offer a lot of incentives like rate buy downs and even contribute towards closing costs. It really is no wonder why we're seeing this type of surge in the new home market.
So unfortunately, those price cuts worked, jumping up 20% in one single month. And of course, that doesn't mean the quality got any better. That just means it was a little bit cheaper than what was already out there, and a ton of people started signing on the dotted line. Especially if you start looking up this type of topic, there are a ton of sponsored posts like this.
Only minutes into finishing touches and close to completion here in Richmond, Texas. A recent price reduction just brought this home under $400,000 with a down payment around $13,000 and closing cost credits. Out-of-pocket expenses are minimal.
So I mean, just one after another with the price incentives, price cuts. They're just trying to sell these houses like hotcakes, and then they'll move over to another plot of land and do the exact same thing town after town. This problem goes very well with a comment from you guys. Real simple. If people keep buying trash, other people will keep making it, and the prices will continue to climb. And we're not just talking about single family homes either. The apartment complexes and townhomes are in the same boat.
They building all these damn apartments and ain't nobody gonna be able to afford this.
Paper thin walls, hearing the neighbors breathing, smelling the neighbors' meals, and feel the neighbors walking. $2,000 a month for 600 square feet. Sounds like perfection to me. Looks like Florida. They've been knocking down 7-Elevens, Burger Kings, and Starbucks just to build new apartments. Enough is enough, especially when you see them in low income, but charging $3,500 for 3 bedrooms is crazy. Speaking of how nuts some of these apartments have gotten, we could take a look at this one. I can't even believe that this is a real thing.
So y'all, I just came to this unit and I'm like, dang, they couldn't clean up before I come? Whatever, it's cool. I come outside and I notice I'm right in front of the jail. I am right in front of the jail. Look, you see? Hey, turn up, turn up. I got the jail lit. That is so funny. They playing basketball down there. And they have a perfect view of this unit. So yeah, for only $3,000, you and your best friend could rent this 2-bedroom, 2-bath unit at downtown 5th Miami. Corner unit, lots of natural lighting. You know, everything else gonna get cleaned up. It's just the view. You know, if you don't mind having friendly neighbors, they right here.
I still can't believe it. $3,000 a month to be across from the jail that they could see into your apartment. You really can't make this stuff up. We're gonna read some of the 20,000 comments on this video. This is so dangerous with almost 170,000 likes. The rent should actually be cheaper just because of that. It is. $3,000 is a deal. Doesn't sound like a deal to me. $3,000 for a view of the prison. Miami is unhinged. I know those inmates know the schedules of everyone's units facing the jail. I'm truly at a loss for words on this one. I don't know how this is a sell for anybody. On top of the almost guaranteed amenities that they'll try to put on you, they got the gym, they got the pool, the ping pong table, all of which you're never going to use to pay a top dollar price for the new construction luxury builds.
Apartment amenities are the funniest thing of all time because you'll be on a tour and the leasing agent's like, yeah, here's this big open room with a couple couches in it. You can have parties here, but you're not allowed to have guests. Oh, and we have a ping pong table. Get this. We're the only building in Tampa with an Olympic-sized ping pong table. The only one. Oh, do you guys have a hot tub? No hot tub, but ping pong table Olympic-sized. And besides the common room that you'll never use once in your entire time living here, we're the only building in Tampa with the gym on the 10th floor. Those other guys that have it on the 8th floor, the 6th floor, our gym, 10th floor. Oh, and the rent? $3,000 a month.
I know that they try to advertise this heavily with apartment complexes, but if you're in one of those single family home communities, they have the exact same thing. You're paying a ludicrous price for HOA fees every month. They have some sort of building with the same type of amenities nobody ever uses. And overall, it's just a complete waste of money. And the only time you really see this is with new construction homes. My apartment flexed their dog park and dog spa. I moved in 10 months ago and they've been under construction ever since.
New home inspection. Widow's already living here. Window, brick sill, completely uneven, no weep hole cover, and a big gap in the corner. The grading is too low along the foundation here at this corner. Must have ran out of caulk.
Now with this specific clip, there are many more examples of gaps throughout the entire house, with black widow spiders already being on the outside. That means it's pretty easy to get inside the house as well. That alone would probably make me turn around and never look at that house again.
Here we are, new construction at a rough wall inspection. Now check this out. I thought I'd share this with you. So I walk by, you can see the light blinking through the block. I think we forgot a little something. And this is new construction, as you can see. The nicest thing in here is that ladder and the breaker box that just zipped past. Yeah, let me know what you think. You can't make this stuff up.
Why did the framers even bother to build on top of this? Helen Keller Construction at your service? They were going for a rave light show as you could dance around in the cellar. How were they able to build the rest without a foundation inspection? No permit and no inspection equals who knows what's going on here. The carpenter must play Fortnite. Not one person said anything before this. It honestly feels like there are basically no restrictions. Nobody's checking anything. You truly don't know how your house is built unless you get one of these type of inspectors to go through every nook and cranny.
So I'm working on a new build here, and this is the kind of electrical we are doing. Really kind of liking it, but then I get into the HVAC stuff and I wonder how the hell is work like this in a new build, how all this is acceptable. What a complete mess. Look at all the vents. I'm sure they run it all to one place to keep the roof penetrations down. But look at that. All of them from all over the house.
This is not acceptable. The plumbing looks even worse. The creator responds, I didn't even focus on that one. Absolute garbage HVAC work. But we have an interesting comment from one of you guys. If you don't know which home inspector to hire, ask your builder which inspector you should stay away from and then go hire that inspector. It sounds like a pretty good tactic to me. They would be the one nitpicking all of these builders, trying to cut corners any way they can. I've talked about it before. You should try to see if there are TikTok creators in your area that make these inspection videos, because it seems like they actually go through the house and find all the problems instead of somebody just running through, checking all the boxes and saying that it's fine. Unfortunately though, even with the videos that I make and all of these different examples, we still see people like this that don't realize that they're stuck until it's too late.
So how about I'm supposed to be closing on my DR Horton build home next week, and now all I see on my TikTok feed is how crappy the builds are. Drop some comments in the comments below about things that you've had trouble with. That way, when I do my walkthrough prior to closing, I can know exactly what to look for and make sure that they fix it. Because apparently, new builds from DR Horton are not the wave.
I personally just don't understand it, because this is probably the most expensive purchase that any of us are going to make in our lifetime. And not doing research on the builder before you get into this situation just seems insane to me. I purchased a new build from DR Horton and had a third-party inspector. Do not rely on DR Horton's inspector. Do not close on your house until your punch list is 100% complete. If you do, you'll regret it later. Do not let them pressure you to close until everything is fixed. I specifically remember an example from, I think the account was Inspector Randall, where he was going through one of these builds for the third time. But even after making a third video on the same house, he was still finding problems. But I guess you just have to push through all of that and not get pressured to close, because then it turns into your problem. I'm a realtor and they're all crappy. I know we've been harping on DR Horton Homes pretty heavily on this video, talked about Lennar Homes a little bit, but there are much more companies to look out for. There's another clip up on screen. POV, your 2-year-old Clayton home is falling apart. I know a bit more about Clayton Homes because they are decently close to where I live in North Carolina, and I've seen a lot of problems with them as well. I'm scared. I've seen so many bad things about Clayton Homes, and we're set to close on November 20th. You think you're having a bad day? Somewhere someone just bought a Lennar home with a $100,000 discount and capped interest rates, then saw my video and realized that many others are suing because our homes are deemed uninhabitable in less than 2 years from mold and construction defects. So those discounts and incentives we saw earlier might come back to bite you, especially if you bought a Lennar home. As someone who owned a Lennar home and left it in 2023, I would never buy it again. Thank you for posting. I was just looking at Lennar homes. Another one here answering some questions about my crappy Clayton built home, just going through all the issues as well. A class action needs to be taken against this company. When the father was in charge of the company, it was amazing. Since the son took over maybe 8 to 10 years ago, Clayton has done a nosedive. It's even crazy to see how bad the quality of the materials they're using to build these homes up at record pace in the first place.
This is a new neighborhood, brand new home. Look at the roof condition. These shingles are all beat up. These are in really rough shape. Too much exposure here. Those nails, all this. Look at the house next door. Look at all that damage. Damaged shingle. More damage over here. There's a cut shingle. There's one of the attic vents. All the exposed nails. Shingles are buckled up on the side here. They weren't trimmed right.
And I think we'll end this video with a comment from you guys. In the early 2000s, my aunt's house was burned down from a fire. She was properly insured, and when they rebuilt the house, all the plumbing was replaced with plastic lines. The original house was copper. A few years later, the walls were leaking, and the insurance company said to kick rocks. She fought and eventually won. It's crazy how everyone in this world is looking to screw you over with the smallest advantage. This is kind of an overarching theme on a lot of the topics we go over on both of my channels. You just have to be extremely well aware with almost anything in today's world, because I have to agree, it sounds like almost everybody is trying to screw you over one way or another.
1 out of 10. Let me know what you think about how well the builder did here. I've come to find that the shower drain is the new trash can. Like, what is that? Am I just being picky or what? Check it out. The baseboard is warped, and there is some type of moisture that I am picking up here in the closet. Dadgum, dude. So the builder apparently didn't want me to inspect this electrical panel. This condensation should not be happening here at your suction line. That's gonna need repair. And this is your emergency condensate drain line. Tell me what's going on here, guys. What's up? That's not right. Well, that's a little loosey-goosey here. Same with the trim. And the cooktop. I mean, this stuff just sticks out to me. Dang.
And we're talking about a $460,000 home, a little bit over the average. It's going to get way worse in this video. We have 800, a million, and 1.7 million flip, all with basically the worst construction you can think of. Some of the comments, how is the debris in the drain not sabotage? I wonder the same thing every time I inspect a new home. So that's how common it is. I'm never buying a new built home after all of these videos. Perry Homes is terrible. I feel bad for whoever's buying the house. 100% some innocent people are going to buy it. Well, we're going to have an example of that later in the video, unfortunately. A comment from one of you guys, none of these houses are properly insulated either. You will hear everything. And if you want to talk about the new construction luxury apartment buildings, it's even worse. You're going to hear your neighbors above, below you, and side to side. It will just be a nightmare.
So this is my third time at this property. First time doesn't count. That was a pre-drywall inspection. But I did the final inspection on this house over a month ago. And the very next day after that inspection, the builder said the house was going to be ready, and that was their walkthrough. It's April 25th, over a month later, I'm back again because the house obviously wasn't ready, and the clients wanted me to come inspect it for the third time. So powered. No power. House is supposed to be finished. Someone cut the garage door weather stripping too short. Okay, here's our gutters. Downspouts way over there, but all the water is collecting on this side.
And this is only part of the video. He keeps going through all of the issues on this house for the third time. What else are you really supposed to do? It's pretty clear to me that the builders just do not care at all. It really is just embarrassing, and you know that this house is not affordable at all. Most likely on the higher end, it's just built with toothpicks and cardboard. Another comment from you guys, results of workers that get pushed to finish faster and faster, cheaper and cheaper, with ever worsening materials and a possible lack of pride too. And I know seeing these videos on YouTube, on TikTok, people are finally waking up.
I feel like this doesn't get spoken about enough, but it's new construction homes, okay? They are trash, bro, and these builders consistently keep building them just to be trash. They know what they're doing. They know there's all these faults. They know they're going to be screwing the home buyers, but they get away with it. And then when there's the inspectors that get hired to come through to do the job, they do their job correctly and good, they're like, hey, you can't sell this house until this stuff gets passed. Well, then they get that person, they get rid of them. Now they're like, they've got their own like in-house inspectors that are passing these houses that should never pass off, right? They're selling them to people. Some of these people are first-time home buyers, but regardless, they get into the home and like the homes are flooding. If you have not seen some of these TikToks where like the homes are flooding, just falling apart, then they get on the phone like, hey, this is not under warranty, or this is under warranty, but, you know, they don't come out and fix it and stuff like that. It's just crazy to me how it's like nobody's getting in trouble for this shit. Every time I see this shit, I'm like, nope, I would never buy a new construction home. You're talking about $1 million homes and like that are just complete trash. You touch the brick, it falls off.
We will be seeing examples of that soon enough, but again, it looks like there are no consequences. Nothing really happens at the end of the day. They just keep building communities full of these new homes. Some of the comments, I work for developers. The number one goal is to get the cheapest contractor you could find. It starts there. I watch inspectors on these $500,000+ homes, and my jaw is always on the floor. Give me a 1900 to 1999 build, hence use your own private home inspector prior to purchase. I think that's part of of the reason why there are so many home inspector TikTokers. I mean, they have entire collections of just ripping apart these homes. Now I want to hire them whenever I look for a home in the future because I know that they'll at least be thorough and won't be in the pockets of any of these developers. I tell my clients that if I were to build a new house, I would micromanage everything and determine what materials are used because you are right. And to add on with building these houses as fast as possible, we have a comment from one of you guys. Housing being seen as investments rather than homes caused this. Homes used to be built to live in for a lifetime. Now they're built to get equity and to be flipped in a couple of years. I couldn't have really said it better myself.
New construction, everything looks great. Until you spot this. A gas meter right next to where the car pulls in. Not technically a defect, but still not ideal. One wrong turn and boom, gas meters this close should have protection, like a bollard or barrier.
All right, these contractors at this house used OSB board on the stairs and then just stained it, and that's how they're gonna sell it. Check this out. Look at that. There's a couple other things I'm gonna show you with this house, but it goes all the way up. And check this crazy looking room out up here. All right, you come up the stairs and then you see this room here. It just kind of looks like it was extra attic space. They just laid some flooring down. I don't know, I guess you use this as a closet. And then you gotta see the master shower. This is crazy. All right, so you go into the bathroom. I mean, it's nice, it looks good. But here's the shower. And check this out right here. I guess they trimmed it. They didn't even trim it. That's just how it is. But when you try to open it, it hits there, right? So you're like, oh, okay, that's crazy. Let's just push it in. When you push it in, it hits that.
It honestly looks like a child made it. Absolutely terrible floor plans to start. I guess that's going to be a display shower because you can't open it. The stairs look like an absolute joke. And then the random weird looking kind of closet. Why do the stairs look sticky? They really do. Flippers should have to be licensed. There's a reason why people can't have nice things. People like this sell these houses at absorbent prices. And then the new owner has to spend even more money to fix. The pine stair treads are like $8 a piece. Just imagine what you can't see. That's a good point as well. And it's really not surprising when you start seeing stats like this come out.
For the first time ever, buying a brand new house is cheaper than buying an existing one. In June 2025, the gap was 8%, about $33,500 less to go new construction. That's not just unusual, it's historic. In the last 26 years, it's only happened 6 times. Normally, new homes carry about a 20% premium over existing homes. Today, that premium is gone, flipped into a discount. Why? Builders adjusted. They've dropped prices 13% from the peak. They're offering mortgage rate buy-downs to get payments lower. They're building slightly smaller homes to hit affordability targets.
And people in the comments know exactly why as well. Have you seen how they build new houses so cardboard homes are cheaper than brick? Now, it doesn't seem like it's too crazy of a discount, but it does depend on the builders. We have an example here from one of the most notorious bad builders out there, D.R. Horton.
This is for all you renters that want to buy a home but don't have a down payment. This just hit my inbox this morning. D.R. Horton has a brand new mortgage product where they are covering your 3.5% down with a second lien that is actually forgivable after making 3 years worth of on-time payments. And you got this 5.75% special rate on top of that. So if you were thinking about buying a home, sick of renting, you just don't have the money for your down payment, shoot me a DM and I can show you the communities that this qualifies for.
No thank you. D.R. Horton, aren't those the homes that fall apart 3 months after you move in? Never trust this builder. D.R. Horton is garbage, just comment after comment. And I've said before, regardless if it is a new construction build or an older house, if you can't afford any sort of down payment, even a 3.5% for the FHA, I'm gonna be honest, that means you cannot afford the house. Even with the lower 5% rate we saw with this deal, most of the time what we're seeing right now is around 6 to maybe 7%. The mortgage and all the rest of the upkeep for the home will just be too expensive for you and will not end well. But this is a good transition to a D.R. Horton home inspection and just all the problems they find.
Okay, 11-month warranty inspection up on the roof. How's the house look? They did a terrible job at the finish work on this siding. They never sealed up this joint, never painted that. This piece is broken. And then down here, check that out. It's a hidey hole. You can hide stuff in there, like water. That's pretty cool. And this is directly below that area. I'm not seeing staining, but this definitely looks like water damage. I scanned it with the thermal camera. It was dry, but we haven't had rain recently. And then there's all this. This may be coming from the shower, but I sprayed the shower wall and no water came out, so.
Again, I'll just have the rest of the video up of him showing all the other problems, but an 11-month warranty and you already have water damage because of the lack of quality and craftsmanship when you're talking about these types of D.R. Horton homes. I just don't even know what I do, because for most people, their home is going to be the most expensive purchase in their life, and within a year, it just starts falling apart. Typical D.R. Horton homes, D.R. Horton, the worst houses, the cheapest material. I was told to never buy D.R. Horton, Perry, or KB homes. So up next, we could take a look at some of the worst builders in the country.
These are the top 4 worst home builders in the country according to online reviews. Number 1, Clayton Homes. Clayton Homes specializes in modular and manufactured homes. They have a 1.8 star rating on ConsumerAffairs.com and a 1.44 rating on the Better Business Bureau. Number 2, D.R. Horton. D.R. Horton is the largest home builder in the country and one of the worst ones out there. They have a 1.4 rating on Trustpilot, 1.8 rating on ConsumerAffairs.com, and they constantly have a lawsuit about the bad quality of their homes in multiple states. Number 3, Lennar. Lennar is one of the largest builders in the country, and they have operations in 26 different states. They have a 1.23 star rating on the Better Business Bureau, a 1.4 rating on Trustpilot, and a 1.1 on ConsumerAffairs.com. Number 4, Pulte Homes. Pulte Homes are expensive homes built with cheap material, bad constructions. They have a 1.6 rating on consumer.com and a whopping 1.1 rating on the Better Business Bureau.
So I thought it was pretty funny because I have heard of Clayton Homes. It's around where I live, and it's just the same problems over and over again. Basically no quality control, no improvement to their builds, just cranking out as many as they could possibly make. And now we're starting to see some of these builders bleed. When they buy a bit of land, put up a house real quick, and then ask for absurd amounts of money.
Remember this house? I made a video on it back in March saying that the builders were going to lose millions of dollars here. For context, these Austin home builders, Sendero Homes, bought the land for this property back in 2021 for around $600K and then took out a $4.1 million construction loan. Assuming the standard 20% down, their all-in upfront cost was around $6 million without even factoring in property taxes, agent fees, and the interest on their loan. They tried to list it in June of last year for $10 million, and by March of this year, it was already down to 8.9. Now, everyone in the comments in that last video was like, no, they're still going to make a profit. It won't just be as much. Well, let's see what happened. In April, they price cut it again to under 8.5 and they got an offer. It was contingent, but then it fell through. And they had to cut it again to 8.35. And now earlier this month, they just cut it down to $8 million. They're $1 million down in just the last couple months and over $2 million from a year ago. I stand by my claim. I don't think they're going to make a profit here.
I mean, I gotta say, this is out of my tax bracket, a $10 million house. That's of course not worth it at all if they already dropped $2 million off the price. And it seems like a lot of people know that as well. But imagine buying a piece of land for $600,000 and then trying to flip a house on it for $10 million? It's just unreal to me. But one of the comments here, I get that it's hard to cut prices with an already underwater property, but these 2% cuts are insane. Inventory has spiked above 2008 levels. They need to be cut by 12%. Let alone the fact that most likely the construction of that home is probably not top tier.
I'm at my new build. I have to put the soffit and vinyl on. Look at this. This is what they consider plywood sheathing. I mean, there is no structure to it at all. And that's the sheathing. There's nothing behind that. There's studs. Foam in the maybe a quarter inch piece of chipboard.
So that's what's on the new house, is basically styrofoam and cardboard. Just example after example. I could make this video an hour long if I wanted to. Another comment from you guys, I know someone who rented a new construction luxury apartment. He's the first tenant in his suite. He filled the sink to wash the dishes and the counter collapsed because the material was so cheap it couldn't handle the weight of the water in the sink. He's happy he's a renter. I would be too, because that's going to cost a pretty penny to fix. And when it comes to these new construction builds, not even the grass, the land that it's on, is safe.
Looks like they're about to put some sod in.
Look what they're gonna put it on top of. And people wonder why the grass don't grow that well. Look how big these rocks are. This is crazy. Oh, and then a whole bunch of paint too. That's some good stuff for some soil.
So that's great. Just put it on top of a whole bunch of rocks, gravel, and paint. What could go wrong? They have a whole asphalt 12 by 12 pad under my front lawn. I hate DR Horton. As a landscaper, this aggravates me, and clients wonder why we charge so much. Yep, these builders really like to cut corners and go for the cheapest option. It really is just never ending.
Gotta love it when you pull up to a new build like the one behind me, and the project manager already has the doors unlocked, and he's waiting for you, and the first thing he says is, I'm not even sure why the client's even ordered a home inspection, but she's all yours. Let's see if this house is in good a shape as he thinks it is. We got a great tankless water heater plugged into this power outlet, but this outlet is not testing as GFCI protected. I got no clue what this switch controls. Fireplace don't work. Huh. Looks like we missed a toilet. Why are all the can trims popped down? And same with these.
Again, this is just part of the video. It is much longer. There needs to be mandatory fines for all of this stuff so builders actually have incentive to do quality work. This build is obviously not finished. Sad to see people don't take pride in their work anymore, especially when they know an inspector is coming. That's my thought process too. If you're not buddy-buddy with the guy, they're clearly going to do their job and rip apart your shoddy craftsmanship. It just doesn't make sense to me. They really do just throw it together with spit and glue and slap a $600,000 price tag on it, huh? And another little bit of information that I don't see people talk about too much when it comes to new land, new construction, is the common pest problems.
Hey, David Kibido with J&J Exterminating here. Out looking at some new construction, new home being built here in Bridge City. And with every new construction here in Southeast Texas, you can almost guarantee you're going to deal with a couple pest problems kind of right off of the bat. And the whole reason behind that is, you know, with new construction, you've got a piece of property that was maybe a wooded area or a field or something like that, that you come in and clear cut everything, build pads up and put a house in the middle of. And of course, all of these insects and wildlife were already here, and you displace them from their homes to build your house. And boy, they like the air conditioning too. So I want to show you something. Check this out. As you can see, got some fire ants trailing up the side of the foundation, going in this small mortar joint there.
So on top of the paper mache house you just bought, you could add pest problems to that list as well. You really can't make this kind of stuff up. And right here we have one of the very extreme examples of someone not even being able to live in their home anymore because of the terrible quality control from the builders.
This is what it looks like to own a $500,000 home that you cannot live in because it is full of mold. As of almost 4 weeks ago, we finally moved out, and let me tell you, since walking into this house today, I cannot believe we even survived here for 2.5 years. The smell is so god-awful. We are still in active lawsuit against Perry. Seriously, can't wait for this nightmare to just be finally over. Imagine paying $3,500 a month for a home you never got to enjoy. Imagine being sold a dream and being robbed of everything. Builders need to be held accountable. This video is the AC tech explaining how our AC was a faulty unit, completely oversized, exposed holes everywhere. That he's never seen something built so horrible. That wasn't the only reason our house had mold in it.
And we heard the monthly mortgage payment they had, $3,500 for one of these homes. This was a Perry home, and one of the comments, Perry homes are just as bad as DR Horton. Now she's got to go through a whole lawsuit process, as well as finding another place to live, just completely messing up your whole life. Another comment from you guys that goes well with the next couple clips, and they want you to pay $600,000 for these paper mache houses. Well, I got some examples that are even better, way more expensive, and you still get crap work.
I don't think that one shower enclosure has actually passed this test this month. This sink is leaking. Gaps at the windows. Unfinished areas at the flooring. Holes are missing in this area. Some cosmetics here and there. The tub has chips and damages. This is unpainted. This has not been painted. Damaged. Damaged. Stagnant water everywhere. Unfinished.
For $875,000. It should be perfect. And again, I found tons of different examples. Another one up on screen, just running through all of the issues. $850,000 new construction build. We'll up it again. This clip on screen is a $1 million home with the same type of issues. Surprise, surprise. Some of the comments, do they even try anymore? Is there no more pride in workmanship? Doesn't look like it. Seems the builder needs to do a better final inspection before listing. Is this Texas? It just has the McMansion look, big houses, but made cheap. But the winner or loser, however you want to think about it, of this video is the clip up on screen, a $1.7 million flip. Over 90 items on the report. If I ever get to the point where I could buy an almost $2 million house, I want it to be an absolute fortress. And instead you're getting the same crap quality as we saw with the $400,000 home. I guess it's just even bigger square footage. The people who did this need to be criminally charged. Mold, fire hazard, collapsing balcony, mold. TikTok has taught me that 1, always get a home inspection done. 2, my toddler builds houses out of Legos that would pass a home inspection better than a lot of these professionals. But we'll finish off this video with a comment from you guys and another clip that goes along with it. Just bought a 115-year-old house. I don't care what I have to replace. At least it was built when people took pride in their work. And ending this on a somewhat positive note, at least some people are waking up to that.
We will not be buying anything that was built in 2024.
My house was built in 1958, and I don't think I will ever buy a house that is any newer. Our house is like 1,300 square feet, but this place is a fortress. I will be on one side of the house and my fiance's on another, and I can't hear him talking to me because the walls are so thick. We have to command hook everything to the wall because it is impossible to get like a push pin in to put decor up because the walls are so thick. Watch. I'm trying as hard as I can. And it just won't go through. There's also something extremely comforting about the fact that this house has been here through the worst of storms of all time. Like, she survived Hurricane Andrew. She's good. Especially as a Florida girly and someone who sells real estate for a living, I just love something about an old Florida concrete block construction home. They're like legit fortresses. And if it's maintained well, there is no better indication of a home holding up for the future than one that has already held up for the past 66 years through the worst storms of all time. Yes, you'll have to update things along the way with an older house, but you can be pretty damn sure that this house is not going anywhere in the long run. My advice, buy the old house and then just upgrade the finishes to be whatever you want.
I'm telling you guys, straight walls, those are a thing of the past. That's how they used to build houses, but we don't do that anymore. We don't like straight. It's too boring. We gotta get funky, you know what I mean? Change things up. Oh, it's like every single wall in this house. See? So that first clip was my morning inspection, and this is my afternoon inspection. See? It is a thing of the past. If you're buying a new house, don't expect straight walls. Or square walls, apparently. Well, you can't see this from the ground, but I'm happy I got up here because that is a nice water penetration spot. Here's the other side. Doesn't that look good?
I mean, I don't even really know what to say with that one. We could look at the comments. So what happens after this inspection? Do they have to redo it, or is it just whatever? Now, hold on to that comment for a little bit later in the video. We're going to talk about that a little more. The reason isn't the builder or the framer. It's that the business does not use killed and dried material any longer. Shrinking and warping happens after the home is painted and becomes temperature controlled. So they're using the absolute worst possible materials to make this brand new house. So much so that it starts warping the walls immediately. How would you ever have any sort of longevity in these houses then? Then we have a comment from one of you guys: a house built in 2025 shouldn't be a fixer-upper, and it's almost guaranteed now, even with the real estate market starting to stagnate in certain areas, and it's not nearly as crazy as it was during COVID, people paying over asking and all that crazy stuff. None of the build quality, whether it's any of the construction workers or the materials that they're using, have gotten any better at all.
Just wanted to point something out to people that are buying houses right now. If your house is newly built and it is built during the rainy season, most likely they are using particle board or OSB instead of actual plywood. It's getting drenched, and then they cover it, put a roof on it, they put drywall up, and before you know it, you've got black mold in your house that you have never lived in. So if you just bought a new house, make sure that you are running a dehumidifier constantly for the first 6 months. Seriously, I cannot tell you how many houses I have seen that are brand new and they end up having mold issues because they are using the cheapest possible plywood they can get, and it rains, at least in Washington State, a lot. So keep that in mind. Hope this helps somebody avoid some serious illness. Black mold is no joke. Cheers.
Especially in Washington State, you know how expensive those new construction builds are going to be? And you're gonna get mold as soon as you move in. I have no idea how they'd be allowed to do this in the first place. Some of the comments here: new construction and minimal code requirements are a joke. That mobile home is looking better every day. And then another comment: the dehumidifier won't resolve black mold on any level. So I don't really know what to tell the people that move into those types of houses. But we have another comment from you guys: my husband and I lost out on several houses despite offering more money because we wouldn't waive an inspection. This goes for houses any age, not just the new construction. Stand your ground. It's not worth getting boned later. And we're starting to see tons of videos come out with exactly those problems. But like I said before, we are starting to see a little change in the real estate market. Houses aren't being sold before they're even built for over asking. A lot of them are just sitting, rotting away without anyone in it.
What are we supposed to do? The only higher density, more affordable housing that gets built is like this. They won't even lower the price. These are selling for $540,000.
Got no yard, and you got the busiest street in town right here.
Once again, back at those row houses that realtor was gonna sue me about. And check this out.
It's been over 2 years that these have been listed for sale. And if you look down here, it looks like they actually took some of the signs down. Let's check it out. So I saw the sign was missing. I thought, man, after 2 years, one of these actually sold? Well, I cleared some of the snow, and it looks like it just fell off, and nobody's put it back on. Even their banner's falling down now.
Man, how crazy is that? I've been making videos about these row houses for over 2 years now. And it seems, besides finishing some more of them, nothing's changed. They're still for rent and still for sale.
For $550,000, way over the median $400,000. And those were just townhomes. I'm looking at the listing now, $539,000, 3-bed, 3-bath with 1,700 square feet in Oregon again. So the last clip talking about the rain constantly could possibly have the same issues here when they were built. You never know. But we got another comment from you guys: when my brother was looking for a house, we went to about 3 dozen homes, and the worst ones were the overpriced new construction. And while we were walking in the new homes, I pointed out the problems, especially how cheaply they were built. He ended up buying an older 1940s home overlooking a farm valley for cheap. Now that is supposed to be the solution for many people, especially in the comments section. Just get an older house, even though it doesn't have the modern look and you'd probably have to do some renovations. Most likely the bones of the house are still in better shape, but as I've talked about with my parents' house being an older house, the amount of stuff my dad has had to replace doesn't mean that it's going to be cheap either. There's another comment talking about that a little bit later in the video as well, but we'll get into a little bit more of these statistics.
Breaking: U.S. home sales have fallen to the lowest level in 30 years. Things have not been this bad in over 3 decades. In 1995, that is before many people on this app were even born. Abysmal home sales in the U.S. are due to 2 reasons: high prices and high interest rates. High prices are due in part to the high interest rates because many people are very reluctant to put their homes on the market right now while interest rates are so high. That said, even when interest rates do go down further, housing prices are still far out of reach of many Americans. The median home in the US costs well over $400,000 per year, causing many people to permanently give up on ever owning a home in the US, once considered a fundamental part of the American dream. One more important thing to add is that even though the Federal Reserve has been cutting interest rates, mortgage rates have continued to rise topping an important threshold of 7% last week.
Just making it even harder to own a home in the first place, let alone having all the issues with something that you do purchase. Some of the comments are pretty funny though, but a realtor is going to tell you right now is the best time to buy. Of course, they want their commission checks. Well, what did they expect? And they're still not lowering the prices. Another common sentiment I've seen from many people: I need to get out of this country. I know most of the time it's not taken seriously, but if you do want to look up online, on YouTube, on TikTok, there are many Americans going to lower cost of living countries and permanently living there, completely done with the housing market we have to deal with because of the over $400,000 on average house. And we can look at this clip. This is exactly what you get for around the median price.
Y'all want to see what $425,000 gets you in Fort Collins? This is a townhome. At least they replaced the damaged steps, but not the patio. Now, settling usually is caused by moisture. And I see that they have a drainage pipe here. So where's that moisture coming from? And right over here, disconnected. Maybe a 25-year-old AC unit. That must be what the wizard's for. Keep it running. Well, we got some siding that's it's kind of sitting on here loose, aren't we now? Over here, we don't even have any. We can get some birds or rodents and go right up into your attic there. All right, so outside where we had that settling on the patio and the disconnected sub pump discharge, this is the other side. That's where that window was. Down here in this corner, that looks like it's possible moisture issues from the settling, but if we come up here, you see where they try to paint over it, but those water stains are still coming through ever so slightly. And what would it be without a good old loose toilet? Now we're on the inside. There's a skylight. Moisture damage covering it up. I wonder if they've corrected the issue or they're just covering it up to get through the sale.
Real quick, we could look at some of the comments, and yet someone will buy it. This economy doesn't make sense. So one of the solutions is purchasing an older house, which does come with its problems. Of course, still maintenance and upkeep could cost you a ton of money like my parents did. And another one of them is get one of these really good inspectors, because they could go through and absolutely rip apart the house and either get the issues fixed with the current owners, or you could haggle down a lower price for the final sale. However, I've found a couple issues with that. One of the comments from you guys, the issue is gotta find a home inspector that isn't in bed with the builder, who isn't in bed with the city inspector. There are many who are all in cahoots because they'll all give each other business. Everybody makes money and everything passes, and then the house sells and they could do it again and again and again. Just start raking in checks. So what you'd possibly think, as ridiculous as it sounds, is maybe some of these content creator inspectors would be the best people to hire. I mean, unless you live near one of these people and they're open for business, it sounds pretty crazy to fly somebody out who's like this and they go through some of the houses you're looking at. But I've come across a little bit of inspector drama on TikTok where some people are going over homes that were recommended by other content creators, and in the end the builds were just as bad. So it's actually very difficult to find anybody to trust in this market right now.
His behavior has literally caused harm within the industry and also to ourselves directly as home inspectors to home inspectors.
Now, I can't tell you who the builder is, but I'm back here at Desert Oasis and actually followed behind a home inspector recommended by Preston, and I'm going to show you what I found. Now, you do need to be careful when you're hiring these home inspectors based off a referral list or a preferred vendors list, especially when they're paying to be on them. I have followed behind this home inspection company multiple times now, and the homeowners are the ones telling me they're finding nothing wrong. And in my opinion, these home inspection companies are treating new builds like a free paycheck. It's not just the dozens and dozens of cosmetic violations that they're missing obvious, serious issues.
Also, look at those huge gaps at the hangers.
I have spent a lot of my free time trying to show this builder about the shrinking wire insulation, and they still do not care enough to go fix all the homes. Tub and shower,
Improperly installed, and tub is cracked.
So we can look a little bit more into the comment section. Inspector Preston is way better. Just watch his videos and anyone can see it. However, it seems like he recommended another inspector who did not do a good job. So it kind of tarnishes a bit of the reputation on top of the list of recommended inspectors, most likely pushed on you by the real estate agent or the builders themselves because they're getting kickbacks from it and then everybody's making more money. Is he associated with Inspector AJ? That would be so disappointing. The creator said sadly yes. So at the end of of the day, who are you supposed to trust? What are you supposed to do? I don't know. It just sounds pretty ridiculous to me. But we have a comment from one of you guys with an older house. My house is 115 years old. Bought it from my aunt. Had to put in a new furnace, new electric in the first year. In the last 20 years, I've had to put new sewer lines, roof, replace porch, windows, and water heater. It's a solid old house. Hopefully it could stay in the family's future. But in total, still very pricey. I would venture to guess it's still probably a better deal than getting something that was built a couple years ago, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be free. So we're going to jump back to the first comment in this video. So what happens after this inspection? Do they have to redo it, or is it just whatever? Now we have an update.
You guys remember this video? It's a brand new house. You don't need your home inspected. Well, here we are, months later, finished attic space. Yeah. 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 Who's surprised?
So now you possibly have to find an older home that is becoming more desirable with all of the bad new construction, and you have to sift through all of the bad inspectors that even could be trustworthy. They finally go through the property you're looking to purchase, they rip it apart, they find all the problems, and they make the owners or builders fix it. Then they come back a number of months later when everything was supposed to be perfect, and it's still just as bad. What are you supposed to do now at the end of the day? I really just don't get it. We can look at the comments. All of these inspection videos have convinced me I'm better off building my own house. Every time I come across this guy's videos, I sit and watch the whole thing. He really has shed a light on how valuable a home inspector really is. Again, you have to find an actual reliable one. We saw in a past video with people becoming house poor, somebody ended up paying $1,000 for the best Google rated inspector in the area. 5 stars, everything was perfect. It was really expensive, but it would have been worth it, and he missed a ton of stuff. I wonder if these builders feel any pride in their work. Doesn't really look like the case anymore. It's just a check building up all of this open land because so many people are moving to different states, getting out of the worst high cost of living areas, California, New York City, New Jersey, really a lot of the places in the Northeast in general, building entire towns in record time. But of course that means quantity over quality. Here we have another comment from one of you guys. As a construction worker, everyone's in cahoots. The electrical inspector would rather be our friend than inspect our electrical, so he could have some kickbacks. I've been on a job where a power wire feeding the whole house wasn't properly connected, and that job passed inspection. Everything's for a check at the end of the day, apparently. Now, I think one of the biggest builder homes that most people know about, I actually have not gone over yet, so I wanted to take a look at some of the DR Horton build homes because they are just a mess.
Oh, hey, before you finish the flooring right there's a rock. It's good. Yeah, it's good as new. Do this all the time. They literally never notice at the blue tape and they end up fixing it themselves. Their kids will have so much fun with that. Let's do it to all the doorknobs. Yeah, so I put this door stop in here, but I did it like 2 inches to the left. Yeah, so we've got one closet here that stretches the entire length of the main bedroom. And if you just don't stand too close to it, you won't feel anything. And it's not in the warranty, so they'll hit their wall every time. Visiting Uncle Joe at the asylum, and the walls painted the same color as drywall. And I said, you know what? Slap that on every house we build. I heard women like clothes, so I went ahead and threw in an extra closet here and no windows. Give them a coupon for 1 free gallon of Sherwin-Williams paint. I know we are considering these lights recessed. We don't work with things that aren't in the warranty. I want it to always encapsulate the vibe of a Bath & Body Works and a porta potty. However, that one is hanging down. They never look up during the blue tape walkthroughs, and that's not in the warranty, so I wouldn't worry about it. Do you know what I could do with 1 gallon of paint? Not a lot.
I don't think I need to go too in-depth. You've probably heard of all of the horror stories, but we could take a look at the comments. I'm a realtor and the amount of crooked outlets I've seen on D.R. Horton Homes is unbelievable. Friends don't let friends buy Ryan Homes or D.R. Horton Homes. We have Ryan Homes at the end of this video. D.R. Horton is the Temu of home builders, and that also adds into a comment from one of you guys. We were going to buy a D.R. Horton in North Carolina. The inspection was crazy. Shifted foundation, gaps between the windows and walls and floors, like walking on a wave, while the roof had lifted shingles and electrical problems. Even HVAC wasn't working weeks before closing. And this is just the reality for so many people now. I bought a brand new build home last year, and just the absolute nightmare that comes with it. And at least in my area where I live in North Carolina, it's been built up very heavily over the past 10 years or so. So if you did want to start looking at an older home, maybe it did need some work, but the bones would be really good. They are unbelievably expensive around me now, because all the new construction homes around me look the exact same and still go for almost $500,000, if not more. Honestly, actually over $500,000. It's like $550,000. It's unbelievably expensive here. But the old, very well-built homes around here are extremely desirable and just price out a majority of people. So there's not really too many options around me unless you're a millionaire. And I mean, at least in my situation, I'm luckier than most because everything that I do is online, so I actually could move. But if you had a job around here and you weren't able to move away, if you did want to buy something cheaper, there's not too many options around here. And that goes for many places all over the country. A good reason why people live where they live is because they're in the vicinity of their career, and they basically have to stay there and deal with the real estate market, because what other choice do they have? But some of the comments from this video, and they're still selling for $500,000, which is ridiculous to begin with. I'm so sorry. I'd sue the contractor. It's horrible. Stop buying brand new, build an old fixer-upper and make it yours. These old homes still have a lot of love and life to give. Again, just like I said, hopefully you're in an area where those old homes that do need a little bit of work but are still nice aren't unbelievably expensive and desirable, but it just keeps getting worse.
All right, just starting this new construction inspection, and right when I walk up to the house, I feel like I smell gas. And this is why. Got a little gas leak. And it's like every wall in this house. Now let's see if the air filter's dirty. I don't know, what do y'all think?
Some of the comments, straight walls cost $750,000. You want all that fixed? It's now $850,000. And I think they're still getting away with it because even with the market not being as hot as it was, a lot of people still are buying these homes. And we have a comment from one of you guys, and yet these people that buy these homes try to flex on everyone else. The house you just bought for $1.2 million is made out of the cheapest materials, one big storm away from breaking apart. Because even though these houses all end up looking the same, most of them are huge. You could look like you're super wealthy, even though in turn you're probably way poorer with how much money you've spent on the home, but you'd still be able to show off to your friends and family, look at my giant house that I bought. And some people are so desperate for that they don't actually read the contract and get just destroyed with the payments.
Guys, tell me why my mortgage went from, don't judge me here, $3,200 a month to $5,600 a month. Backstory here is I was looking for a house back in 2022, and I put in offers on multiple homes. So we decided to go, they got declined, and they wanted 50 to 60 grand over asking price for the homes with no contingencies and all that kind of stuff. Long story short, I bought a new home with Ryan Homes. The worst decision I've ever made in my life, I swear to God, and I am paying for it till right now.
So this is a Ryan Homes story we heard a little bit earlier in the video, very similar to D.R. Horton's. However, it ends up being this guy's fault more than Ryan Homes. We could look at the comment section. So the price of the mortgage went up that much because you bought a variable rate, and the rates have gone up. Then taxes increased, and then insurance companies have gotten greedy and they have doubled their rates. I don't even know what I do. $3,200 is still a ton ton of money, but then going up to $5,600. And we saw earlier in the video, even with the Fed rate cuts, the interest rates are only going up. It's actually only going to get worse for this guy. And we have quite a long time until we see those unbelievable lows, if we ever do see those lows, like during COVID, and people were around the 3% mark. But that's all I got for you guys today. I have to keep looking online, searching for houses, pulling out my hair. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.